Hey guys, it's me again. This time another Octopath Traveler Champions of Continent video, and I will be making a tier list for all the 5-star units we currently have in the game. We currently have 53 characters to choose from, so this is gonna be a pretty long video, but I promise next time I will already have the list pre-filled, so when we have like a few more characters I will be adding them to the list and maybe readjusting the list based on the comments I get in this video. Feel free to write me on some of the choices because these are mostly my personal opinion and I might not always be right. So if I'm missing something or if you think a character should be higher or lower than I rate, then please just let me know. And if you can change my opinion, I will definitely call you out in the next video. So I'll be going over the order of release. So I'm going to start with the original 8 from this game. So let's go. Gonna start with Fiore. She doesn't go to S tier. I mean, if you've played the game, you know there are a lot of better characters than her. One in particular, but I'll be getting there later on in the video. I don't want to spoil anything yet. She goes into D tier for me. She does nice damage. She has a 20% death down attack. When enemy gets a 20% debuff on defense, physical defense, which is a pretty nice attack. It's a nuke attack as well. So you could like use the nuke and then you go into her ultimate skill for some extra damage. Which I'm trying to say, like, D is not a bad tier, but it's just her usefulness compared to other tiers is just lower. She does have her uses sometimes. So let me try to explain. Like, S is game changing. If you have this character, you put it on every team, always. You can always use this character. A is a character with a lot of options, a lot of possibilities. You can almost always use them. B are just characters that are very good in a lot of situations, but not always. C characters are characters which are, yeah, pretty much a lot better than anything below it, like characters which have a good multi-hit or special debuff abilities. But you don't use them that much, but they get priority over anything below that. And I think D are pretty much the stable characters, which when an enemy has a weakness, you will use them if there's nothing in the higher tiers of them. Um, so yeah, like if you're looking for sword users, you start with S, then A, then B, then C, and then D. And there are not that many users of each weapon types yet in the game. And we have 53 characters, we have 8 job types, 8 weapon types, so 8 times 8 equals 64. And we don't have 64 characters yet, so you're definitely going to use characters from D and even F tier at the moment. Next up, Gilderoy. Yeah, he is definitely not as good as Fiore. He does have a taunt, he does have some defense skills as well. His ultimate is pretty good for tanking as well. He is very good in the Merchant Tower, which is getting released somewhere this year, I think. It's gonna be pretty good. So make sure you use him for the job towers. But other than that, at the moment, not very great. Sorry. Then we have Viola. Of course, she goes into S tier, right? She's the best character in the game. I mean, she is the best debuffer in the game, really. But for me, that doesn't warrant an S or an A spot even. You will put her in most teams, especially if you don't have that many strong characters yet. She can really take the edge of some of the enemy attacks, especially in the tourneys. She is very valuable if you don't have a focus team for breaking and just killing the enemy quickly. She can help prolong the fights by debuffing them, also their defense, so she's a very good unit. But I'm going to put her in B tier. Theo, first regen caster, has the double harvest skill, which does 2 AoE X hits, which is very unique still in the game, which makes him more valuable to me than Fiore. So that's why I put him a tier higher. Next is Scarecrow. Not as bad as Gilderoy, but I think on the same level as Fiore. I might even put him on C because he's 4-hit AoE bow attack. Yeah, I'm gonna put him here. The 4-hit AoE bow attack is pretty good. He has high crit as well. He is really good in the Tikilen Cup. So better than Tikilen, Scarecrow is a really good character to have. Next is Millard. First cleric in the game. He is not that great, honestly. I want to put him in F tier, just because I never use him ever since I got a certain other healer cleric, but he's still gonna be useful in like the cups. But I think pretty much every other staff user here beats him. Next we have Sofia. Sofia is same with Scarecrow, I think. Really useful where she does good damage and is a 3-hit ice attack on a single target. Not random target. I definitely prefer single target moves over random target ones, because with random targets you never know who you're going to break. So for breaking it's very inconsistent. And she has specific target attacks, which makes her very good. Next we have Lynette. Lynette I think is still the best buffer in the game for your attack. She has an ultimate, she has this when you move her from front to back row. She automatically buffs your front row, which, I mean, she's a great character. She also has a very high magic attack stat, which I'll make sure to put it somewhere in screen. The magic attack and attack HP scales. I'll get them from the Excel sheet. But yeah, her fire attacks are really good, and she also has a 3-hit fan attack. Next up, Tressa. I really like the Tressa story in the original game. I think Tressa is such a fun character as well. So childish and like adventurous. We all want to be a little bit like Tressa, I think. I'm gonna put her at the top of C tier because she has a priority spirit attack with 3 hits, a 2-hit AoE wind attack move, which does pretty good damage still. Her ultimate is also super crazy, dealing like 4 weapon types at once. And she has a donate BP option as well. And also a taunt. So she's like Gilderoy, but more diverse in her kit. Where Gilderoy is more like a pure tank, she's like more supportive with BP restore. And the priority spare move is good for breaking enemies very quickly in tourneys. Like the Jan Cup, she's really nice in getting a spear hit in first before he changes his priority, his weaknesses. Heathcote, he is not as bad as F tier units, which are like the worst characters for me on this list, but he is worse than Gilderoy, I think. He does some debuffs and he has some shield breaking options, wind attacks. A ton of characters have wind attacks, and there are definitely better wind attack units on this list. So, yeah. Primrose. Primrose, also from the original game, just like Tressa. But she is a little bit better than Tressa in my opinion, because she is, in my opinion, the best dark user in the game at the moment. Her dark attack AoE skill hits 2 times on all enemies. And it does a debuff on the physical and magic defense. Which is, I mean, if you use her together with Viola, that's amazing. Like, you have the max debuff percentage already with 2 characters. So easy for hitting bosses like Glossom Cup. Glossom Cup is awesome if you have Primrose. Which is a 4-hit fan attack as well, which is also very nice. But it is random target. So be careful with that. Her ultimate also does some pretty nice dark damage, so I think Primrose is pretty good. Then we have Theresa. I'm gonna put Theresa in C tier, but definitely behind Sofia, because her damage output is not that great, but she has a 3-hit AoE lightning attack. One of few characters which has a 3-hit AoE lightning attack. Pretty viable. Her damage is pretty okay. Kouren is, in my opinion, different from Fiore. It makes him better than Fiore because he has a 4-hit random target sword attack, which on single targets, when you have one boss standing on the field, is pretty good. He has a Peacock Slash, yeah, that's the 4-hit one. Arithmetic Slash, I mean, which deals extra damage when you're moving first. When the enemy's broken, you deal extra damage. He has light attacks as well, which are pretty decent, I think. You will probably use him in combination with Fiore if enemy is weak to sword attacks, because Fiore can use like the death down buff, the debuff, and then Kouren can use his arithmetic slash to, because it's broken probably, deal extra damage. Fiore can use her ultimate maybe. So those two work pretty well together, I think. Next we have Hasumi. She was the first fan user which was able to heal, and she also had a SP regen ability. Now there are, I think, only 3 characters with SP regen, but it's not super useful. I think when you have long fights, she can be very viable. But other than that, she's not that great. Hanet as well. I kind of want to put Hanet right behind Gilderoy. The problem with Hanet, like, I love the Linda skill and I love Hanet as a character. I love how she talks, like the olden English speech. But her attacks are like 3 to 5 hits, so the amount of attacks is random, which makes it very inconsistent for breaking, and yeah, it's really dangerous to use her like that. Next we have Tikilen. I think Tikilen, she has like a 4-hit wind attack, which is very nice for breaking, which, again, not saying Fiore is bad, but the 4-hit wind attack is just great. Yeah. Also the first journey character, which, I mean, she's definitely not the worst on this list, so that feels pretty good to have a free Tony character. Pretty mid-range on my list. Next, Eliza. I really like Eliza, and the thing with Eliza is she can heal. So when you are low on healers, but also want some extra damage on your team, you can just put in Eliza. And that's because she also does insane damage with her light and sword attacks. She has a special ability where she can attack with a light attack first and then a sword attack. So for breaking, it's useful to have 2 weapon types at the same time. But she doesn't do that many hits. So if you look at Yanlong, she can do light, and then maybe she can break with the light, then she can do a normal sword attack. And in my opinion, it's pretty powerful. But the most useful thing about her entire kit is that she has a heal. So if you need extra heals in your party, you can just put her in, which makes her more useful than anything else in the C tier. Because she can attack and heal, and none of these characters can really do that, except maybe Theo. but I like her a lot, so I'm gonna put her in B. I'm gonna put Theo up a little bit though, thinking about it. Odette. Odette's the first limited character we got from the Sacred Blaze banner. And Odette does insane damage, really does insane damage. For light and for wind, she has a 3-hit random target, which also debuffs the wind or light, so she can pretty much choose. A 2-hit AoE for both as well, and a single hit nuke. And I think she also has like this double hit tome attack skill. I'm not going to put her in A tier because she has 2 elements she can hit with, and not all enemies are weak to light or to wind. But when you have a battle for light or for wind, you will definitely want to use Odette for trying to do maximum damage. She also has a gimmick where she has a 10% chance, I think, to hit twice, so the skill will trigger again. So the 3-hit will turn into a 6-hit. Which for breaking is, of course, amazing. 6 hits on shield. Next we have Lumis. Lumis, sorry Fiore, but she has a 4-hit, which is also really good. But it's random target, so that's kind of unfortunate. Just like Kouren, like there's a little trend here. But it's nice for breaking axe enemies, and she has some regen as well, which is also nice to have. And I think Lumis also has some healing, but very limited. Then we have Stead. He is dark user with an evil, sinister smile, and he's just super cool. I actually replaced Millard with him because I got Odette for light attacks, and then I didn't really use Millard for any damaging moves again. But instead, he got dark attacks with a pretty high damage output. And I didn't have Primrose at the time. So that's why I put him instead of Millard on my team. He also has like this bleeding mechanic, which deals damage every turn, which is all pretty fun. I want to put him in C, but I think that's pretty unfair because he really doesn't do anything else. These characters do like multiple hits, priority moves, rare skills at the moment, like Theo has still the double harvest one. So to me, he belongs indeed with Fiore. So now Fiore is a friend. Yay! We got Elvis now, and Elvis is a free character you got for the Bravely Default collab, and he is pretty terrible, honestly. I gotta say I never used him, so you can sit with Millard in F tier. He is just... They really could have buffed him like a little bit, I think. Then we got Adelle, which was like... I remember at the time when Adelle came out, there was a paid banner. And the paid banner was... I think that was the only way to get her, I think. Or it was a step up with only a paid banner. It was something like that, and people were very mad, like, oh, I want to get Adelle, but she's paid only. Oh, that sucks. Oh no. Then we got some free rubies, I think, after that. And the other characters, they were adjusted to have free banners. It was the first paid banner only character, I think. And I think she goes into B tier for me. She does some pretty insane damage with her after image attack, which has a guaranteed crit on max boost. And she does venom, like poison type skill, so you do damage every turn as well. And I think bleed was physical, and venom poison was magic based. So depending on the enemy magic defense and the enemy physical defense, the damage would be different, I think. She has light attacks, but they aren't that strong. But what's fun with her and all the other Bravely Default characters is that they have skill names that change on different boost levels, like if Banish, Banishka, Banishra, stuff like that. It's pretty funny. Next we have Glossom, and I think Glossom is pretty decent for a fan user. I'm gonna put him, I think, between Fiore and Stead. He is pretty good. He does some buffs and debuffs, I think. Let me double check. Glossom, got him here. 15% physical attack, physical defense for 2 turns. 3 hit lightning to random foe. 20% physical attack, physical def to front row. Yeah, so that's the upgraded version. If you have 5-star, yeah. 4 hit random foe. And a low chance to inflict physical def down. Yeah, for buffing he's pretty good. And he has a passive health regen, also pretty funny. Yeah. I mean, buffer. Pretty much for buffing. He's pretty decent, I think, if you need extra fan user, especially the 4-hit, just like Primrose, 4-hit fan. Pretty useful. Edea. I think Edea. I want to put her in B tier. I might even put her above Adelle, even though I love Adelle a lot. She does provoking. She is a sword user that can provoke, which I think she's the only one at the moment. She does light damage. She does fire damage. She has a lot in her kit, and I think she's just very viable. She has a 20% damage increase when exploiting the enemy's weakness, which is like hitting the weaknesses, you get a 20% damage buff. She has a triple hit, 2-hit fire attack. She can do. She buffs herself for 50% on both stats when she does a taunt attack. I mean, she's pretty good. I don't have her, unfortunately. If the banner comes back for her, the collab, then I'm definitely gonna pull for her. And then we have Agnès. Agnès was the first character to have a revive. She had heals and she had a regen, which I think was pretty unique for a character to have both of them at the time, especially in her level. Like, pretty good heals she got. I think I'm gonna put her in C as well. Maybe put her here, I think. I also don't have her, but I really like to get these 2 characters as well. I tried pulling for them, but I just wasn't so lucky. Next we have Cardona. She has a 4-hit ice attack. And nothing else really. I mean, she does some heals, and I would usually put her in C, but I think she falls under the same category as Glossom, where she only has like 1 really good ability and that's it, which is 4-hit ice attack. She also has an SP for 1 character, I think, on the party for SP regen. One of 3 characters, I think, that has it. Not super great, I think. 4-hit ice is good when hitting ice weaknesses, but other than that, yeah. Next we have Lionel. I have him at Awakening 4 because I kept pulling him. I have a lot of the characters, like the original 8, all of them at Awakening 4 because I keep pulling them in the banners. I do pay occasionally, but not that much. Like, you could call me a dolphin, I think it's called. Like, I pay a little bit for when I want to pity a character. And I tried to save up my gems for the collabs and the limited banners. I think they are or to spend your rubies on the most, I think. Because most characters go into the general pool, and that means you can pull them in any banner, which happens a lot. Like I got Scarecrow like 10 times already or something. It's so unfair getting the same character over and over again. But yeah, I got Lionel to Awakening 4, and I actually never ever used him. So I know he does some ice things. But yeah, because I never used him, he doesn't really seem that special to me. I know he was buffed like a little bit. I think his damage got up, or one of his 2 hits got a 3 hit or something. But yeah, it's not that special to me. Yeah, okay, it might go above Hasumi then, but still. Farkin, yeah, I mean, he does some debuffs for light, which is pretty good. Which make him better for me than Lionel, at least, but worse than Hanet, because Hanet at least does some damage. Yeah, Santa. Santa is, I think, well, maybe Jomaya is also better. But Santa is one of the best bow users in the game. He does a random 5 hit on the enemy team. So if you have like one character, like he's great in the August boss battle. Because I think he does like 20k for each hit, which is just insane. He also has light damage, and a lot of characters have light damage, so that's unfortunate. If he had like dark or something like lightning or something else, then he would be even more useful. Because a ton of characters have light, so like 5 out of 10 characters have light attacks, which sucks so much. Alright, so now we have Therion, and Therion is one of the best characters in the game. I'm not gonna lie, he is insanely good. Not good enough, I think, for me to put him in S, but definitely A tier. He does a 2-hit fire AoE shield crack attack. So just like Viola, she has a double white burst. He has the Hellfire, I think it's called. But when you do a max boost with Therion, all his skills, they will get costed twice. So the Hellfire turns into 4-hit AoE shield break. Pretty sick. He also has a powerful nuke attack, which also has a chance to paralyze. And I think Hellfire also has a chance to paralyze. He has a 3-hit sword attack as well, which makes it possible for him to do 6 dagger attacks. They're dagger attacks, sorry, not sword. 6 dagger attacks for shield breaking dagger enemies is pretty good. Yeah, really good character. Really viable as well. Then we have Liana. Liana does debuffs on the enemy team. She does, I think, a 3-hit ice attack with physical death down and elemental death down 50%, I think. Let me double check real quick. She does, yeah, 50% physical attack and elemental attack down. She has a heal which does a 15 elemental attack and elemental death up for the party, 50%. She has a revive which you can use 3 times. And she has a single target physical elemental attack 50% up for a single ally. I mean, she is pretty good cleric, especially her 3-hit staff attack is really great for shield breaking. It hits all enemies. Same with her ice attack. Really good in the fights where the enemy is weak to staff and weak to ice. Again, I think at the moment when she came out, she was the best cleric instantly. Because I mean, look at it. We got Stead and we got Millard, so anything is better at that point. I think she is not as good as Grim, but she's definitely better than Xantha, I think. No, yeah, she gets more use than Xantha. Because if the enemy is not weak to bow, they will not be using him. But if you don't have any other unit, you can use her in combination with Prim and just get a max down, max 30% on the enemy. Next we have Alfyn. Alfyn is difficult for me because he is not the character I started with in the original Octopath, which was Therion, and I think Therion looks scratchy and cool. He has a BP restore skill, which can help you clear battles a lot faster. He has a 4-hit single target axe attack, which is also just very, very, very good. He has the last stand, I think it's called. The lower his HP gets, the stronger his axe attack gets, and his ultimate is the same. His regen skill also gives a ice and fire up, like resistance up. I think he goes. I think he goes here, top of B. I think Therion is just more useful in a lot more situations where you might want to swap out Alfyn for Lynette and then maybe want to get like Agnès or something. I should put Agnès here, by the way. Yeah. No, like this. Because the double harvest, double harvest, man, it's so good. Yeah, I think Therion is just better than Alfyn, but Alfyn is pretty close to being on Tyrion's level. Next we have Moruso. I don't think Moruso is that good. She gets outshined by a lot of different characters. She's not a cleric. I mean, she's better than Millard, but not by a lot. I mean, she does a wind attack. She does a 2-hit staff attack. 3-hit wind. Oh, she does have a 3-hit staff attack as well. 3-hit wind. She does have a regen, which Millard doesn't have. So in that regard, she is a little bit better than Millard. But other than that, she just doesn't do much. And again, wind is very overused, just like light. So Stead having dark is pretty much his only saving grace at this point. Being a bad cleric. And being a very cool character, of course, but yeah. Next we have Ri'tu. And Ri'tu is, again, a dagger user. I think the most characters we have in game are for the dagger, I think. Like Therion and Adelle. Anybody in this list? No. Ri'tu is a dagger user as well. Heathcote as well. Viola as well. So we got quite a bit of dagger users. But Ri'tu does extra damage when the enemy has more than 10 shield points, which if the enemy has shield points, you're gonna do bad damage anyway. So it's not super useful, I think. But he does have one of the strongest dagger nuke attacks in the game. Also, I should say she, because it's a she, it's not a he. My bad. I apologize. But there's a big downside to this nuke attack, where she won't get any BP for the next 3 turns. And purely for that, she does get a pretty big handicap. I think she's about the same level as Glossom, I think. Next we have Nicola. I think she's a very funny character. She reminds me a lot like Little Red Riding Hood with the red clothes and stuff. But she just doesn't do much special. She also has an SP share. Yeah. Other than being a very fun character, I think that's pretty much it. She does have some some self-healing. She does do 50% death down for all enemies. And she gets a 5% attack up to the entire front row, which make her kind of viable sometimes if you want to get extra damage, but only when she has 50% or more SP. Yeah, she does have her uses, but not super great, I think. Now we have Daddy Cyrus. Yeah, Daddy Cyrus S tier. I think he's worse than Therion, even, because, hear me out. Therion can do 4-hit fire attack, right? And break all shields. So you can bring him on pretty much every fight. Where Cyrus you can only bring for fire weakness, lightning weakness, ice weakness, and tomb weaknesses. Therion can break anything regardless of weakness. So that's why I think Therion is more viable than Cyrus. But Cyrus deals some pretty insane damage as well. And he's the only character of 3 elemental types, where Edea has 2, fire and light, Cyrus has 3. And ice and lightning are still pretty hard to get. Fire is, I mean, you have Lynette, and you have Therion, also you have Edea for fire. So, but still, A tier is pretty good, but below Therion. Alright, now we have the clown, Hardy. Wind, fan user, not that good. Next. Next we have Molu. And I also don't have this character. He has a 3-hit fire attack, a 3-hit tomb attack. He does a 3-hit AoE on the fire attack as well. 3-hit tomb on the single target. He does a single target attack where he does physical attack down for 2 turns, so he can debuff a little bit. He has a 1-hit nuke. Fire nuke you can do. Yeah. I think he fits like on the same level as Fiore, I think. Being able to nuke, being able to do some debuffs, nothing more, really. Next we have, in my opinion, the very best axe user you can get for free in the game. She does insane damage. She has like an ability called Euroslash, where she deals 230 damage, and it's a guaranteed crit, always. That's insane. She can also do speed down with the other attack called Grand Cleave. She has a 3-hit axe attack, random though, not as good as Lumis though, because she has 4, also random. She has dark attacks as well, and again I have bias towards dark characters because we don't have a lot of them in the game. I mean we have where is she? We have Primrose, and we have Stead, and I think that's it. It's still not good. Yeah, Gertrude does dark attack. It's insane. It's insanely good. Yeah, I think again she's able to nuke as an axe user, and we don't have that many strong axe users apart from Alfyn. So yeah, I think she's on the same tier as Fiore. And then we have Curtius, or whatever you want to pronounce it. He is an ice bow user. He has a 3-hit single target bow attack. No, 3-hit single target ice attack, 2-hit ice attack to all foes, and just some debuffs and buffs, but all single hits. So not that great, in fact, but better than Gilderoy, I think, in terms of nuke power. But I think he goes to the bottom of the. And then we have Ophillia. She is, in my opinion, the very best character in the game right now. She does a 4-hit light attack, but it is random target though, again, bad. But she has a revive she can use 4 times as well. You're never going to use that revive anyway, because she has an ultimate where she does the full party revive and heals up to 50% HP. Every level where ultimate goes up, it goes up by 5%. So it starts at 5% and then goes up all the way to a 50. It's insane. Healing the entire party, resurrecting the entire party. You can mess up 3 times. You can mess up to 3 times in the game, in a battle, and revive your entire party. So for tourneys, for any other content, you can always bring her. She has regen ability, she has a heal which also buffs your defenses, your physical and your elemental defense. You will always put her on your team basically. If she dies, she just resurrects herself once in a match. It's insanely good. It's really insanely good. To me, the only S tier character in the game right now. Olberic. I think he does some insane damage. He has I think it's 3 to 6 or might be 4 to 6 spear attacks, so it's like 2 physical attack types. He has a cover skill as well. His ultimate does insane damage as well, 600 power at max level. His lightning attacks as well, not as great actually, but he has no AoE attacks. So for bossing for single characters, he's really good to use. Same like with I mean, Odette can do multiple characters, right? So I'm gonna put him right below. Well, I'm gonna put him above Brim, purely because he has a little bit more coverage. And then we have Dorothea. Dorothea does self damage after her strong attacks, like 50%, 20%. I don't have her, and she doesn't look that good to me, so I'm gonna put her maybe at the top of F tier. Again, fight me on this if you think she's better, but to me, she looks like real terrible. Now Jomaya. I think Jomaya, she does a 4-hit dark attack on a random foe, which she looks pretty good. I don't have her as well, but she looks really good on paper. I mean, 3 hits bow to all enemies, which is not as good as Scarecrow, but I mean, she has a 4-hit random dark and a 3-hit bow to all enemies. She also does some buffs to herself. She has a chance to inflict poison as well. She has a chance to inflict bleeding. Status ailments inflicted will be buffed by 1 turn. If there's a bleeding enemy, she gets 30% damage buff. And she has a 1-hit bow ultimate nuke, which is 20% more powerful if the enemy is bleeding. Really good, I think. It might not be B tier, but jeez, I think she's gonna be end of B tier. She might be C, but the fact that she has a 3-hit bow and a 4-hit dark, and especially because dark is very underused, I think she's one of the best dark users in the game right now. And for breaking, that is, right? Purely for breaking. Alright, next we have Uni. Uni is again a tourney character you can get for free. She's also a bow user. She does some 3-hit bow to random targets. She does a 2-hit to all enemies, a 2-hit fire. Yeah. Again, following the trend of not having a great arena character. But she does have a special ability where she does a sword, spear, axe, and bow attack to all enemies, which can be useful. And I think purely for that, I might put her up to C tier. at the bottom of C tier though, purely because she has the big coverage. Then we have Solile. At this point I was not pulling because I was expecting some big collab to come pretty soon. But it seems Solile is pretty good. She has a 3-hit light to single foe, so targeted attack. 3-hit axe attack to target attack, so she's definitely better than Lumis. Even though she hits 1 time less, I mean, with Lumis you have a chance to not hit your enemy at all, and with Solile you actually do. She has, when she's in back row, she gives resistance to status ailments, which could be pretty useful. Ultimate is a 4-hit light attack. She has a buff and a restore in 1. She can remove some status ailments as well of the entire front row. She gives immunity to status ailments. I mean, she's pretty good. Not as good as Theo with double harvest, but I mean, she is, I think, on the same tier as Scarecrow. Then we have Wrath or Lars, if you want to talk on English. I feel bad for not pulling on him, but I was expecting the near collab to come soon, so I didn't. And because I already had Olberic, I thought, maybe I don't need him. But he has a 5 hits for 2 random enemy. And his ultimate is a very fast priority move, and he does 5% death down with it. Not that great. He gets more speed when he uses 3 BP, so usually that's a max BP hit. He can buff himself, a 3-hit sword to single enemy. He can do a 1-hit to all foes wind attack, which is not that good. He can grant himself BP regen, which is also really good. And especially the 5-hit sword attack is insane. Right? It's insane. I think he's not going to be A tier, but he's definitely going to be a B tier. I would even put him above Olberic. And then we have Falco. Falco is pretty unique in the fact that when he's in the back row, I think even if he's in the back row, he has an ability where he has full HP, he grants the front row 50% dagger up. And I think even if he's in the back row, he triggers this. But please correct me on this, I'm not sure. But he can help other dagger users to do 15% more damage. And his ultimate gives another 5%. So if you use his ultimate, you can get like up to 20% dagger bonus. Which, if you also have Therion, Therion gets a 20% bonus on his nuke, and if it triggers twice, you do insane damage, of course. He also does extra damage in break, like 50%, which is also insane. I think that's the strongest dagger attack we have at the moment. Like Tyrion's attack is strong, but this one is like, I think it's like 345. Which is insane for a single attack, right? But again, you can only do it for when enemy is on break, and Therion does it twice. So Therion, I think, has like 520, like 260 times 2. So yeah. And he has some debuffs as well. I think he's really good. Not as good as Viola on debuffing, but he has a lot of other pretty good abilities. So I think Rod is just better. I've seen him in action, he does insane damage as well. Then we have Voludai. Voludai is another dark user, so of course I'm going to rate him way too high. He has a, I want to say 4-hit spear attack as well. And he has a pretty strong healing attack as well, self-healing. I think his ultimate can go up to 6 hits for spear, but I think it's random target. He is also very strong and has very good stats. Again, I'll put the stats on screen as well. I think he's pretty good. Let's see if he is definitely better than Sofia. Um, better than Tressa, I think, yeah. Then we have Yanlong, the man himself, the strongest Therion champion so far. I'm gonna put him in. Jeez. I mean, he is really strong for staff hits, you know? And we really don't have a strong staff user at the moment. He does some ice attacks as well. He has a 4-hit random staff attack, which no other staff user has it. Staff damage increased by 30% as well. And he has a ultimate which increases his physical attack by 10% for 2 turns, and he can also guarantee crits for 2 turns. Does he have a nuke? A 290 power nuke. That's really strong for a staff. Jesus Christ. I mean, he's pretty good. And his Celestial Bash also does a 20% def down and increases the number of attacks based on the boost. That's also good for shield breaking. He is really good. I'm gonna put him at top C. He is really good. Okay, so next we have the near character units, which are the last one on the list. I'm gonna start off with my favorite, 9S. Well, there's an S in his name, so I'm gonna put him in the S tier, and he's gonna stay there forever and make everybody mad, including myself. I spent like close to 12,000 rupees, I think. I've been saving for months. I bought the discount packs as well, and I got them like 13 times, and it makes me very, very sad. Uh, I cannot do anything with him. I just never want to see him again. So I'm gonna put him in F tier at the very bottom. I just hate him. No, but in all seriousness, he has a fire attack, a lightning attack, and a 4-hit spare attack. 2 hits for the 3 hits for the fire, and a 2 hits for the fire as well. 2 hits for the spare as well on all enemies. But the 3 hits fire attack actually reduces HP to 1. It's called self-destruct, and I think 2B also has it. It's not a good skill to use. He does a speed down, which is not very great. But he can do, again, a physical and an attack and physical def down for 2 turns for 50% with his 1-hit lightning nuke attack. I mean, the 4-hit sphere is pretty decent, but he doesn't really have anything else, so I'm gonna put him at a D tier. But I really want to put him in F, but I mean, I gotta be realistic here. Then we have 2B. 2B. 2B, I feel, is pretty good, but not super great. She is again a dark user, so I'm gonna rate her way too high again. But she also has a fire attack, which again, same with 9S, reduces her HP to 1. She also has an axe attack and a sword attack with some pretty high damage, and they both guarantee to crit at max boost. So she is definitely going to be at the top of B tier. No, top of C tier maybe. And finally we have A2. A2 is, I think, a really unique character where she has this berserk mode where she double casts all her abilities. She gets extra attack and crit and speed for 50%, but it takes 40% of her HP every turn. So, yeah, you really want to get some healing on her and you want to get some regen on her, but she actually when you have like 1 HP, she doesn't die instantly. You just can't use it. If she has 2 HP, she will lower herself to 1 HP. So if you have more than 1 HP, you will use it and you will never go lower than 1 HP. She also has an ability where you can still survive with 1 HP, even if you take a hit, regardless of how many hits you have. But you can only use this once per battle. And I think if you're already at 1 HP after the Berserk mode, it will not trigger at that moment. I'm not sure if it will trigger if you restore your health after that. I'm not sure how that ability works exactly. She has a 1-hit dagger ultimate, which does 50% death down. She has, again, a dagger, sword, axe. She is, I think, the only character to have 3 physical attacking moves, 3 weapon types to her. And same with Cyrus. She doesn't have any elemental damage, though. That's unfortunate. But the Berserker mode is so good. So I'm gonna put her, I think, still below Therion, because Therion is just more viable with the shield breaks. But I mean, A2 is a great unit. If you have her, you can easily cheese some bosses. Yeah. So this is the tier list. I really wanted to keep the S and A tier a bit clean. Like, I think everybody can agree these characters are the 4 best characters, and then B tier might be a little bit polluted as well as C tier. F tier, I might be a little bit mad at some of these characters that are not as good. But please let me know what you think, and if I should change anything. I don't mind changing the list if other people can convince me that it should be different. And I'll be trying to update the list whenever I can. So yeah, I think that's it. We got 53 characters this time. Hopefully next time I do this list there won't be that many characters I have to do. I really want to thank you guys for watching. I mean, it's been a long video. I see we're at 57 minutes at the moment. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and give me some comments on what I can do better and what I should change. And I really hope to see you in the next video. So, bye bye!